You can lower your A1C. To optimize our metabolism, being conscious of how much sugar and carbohydrate we consume is really important. The human body has a limited ability to store excess sugar or glucose. Our bodies typically maintain a reserve of glucose, primarily in the liver and the muscles, in a form called glycogen. The body calls upon the liver and the muscle to convert glycogen back to glucose at times when dietary fuels are low or simply not available, such as when we're asleep or during periods of intense exercise. But the glycogen storage capacity of the liver and the muscles are limited. So imagine this scenario, like a 5-star hotel that reaches its occupancy of guests. Once the hotel is full, there simply are no more rooms available when somebody new comes into the lobby looking for a place to stay. In fact, if management were to continue to allow new guests into the hotel after filling its maximum room limit, everyone else coming to stay at the hotel would end up sleeping in the lobby, in the hotel restaurant, the gym, the parking garage, to have a place to sleep. And ultimately, that would make for a pretty unpleasant situation for everybody involved, including the guests who actually have a room in which to stay. If allowed to continue for too long, the hotel would become congested with people sleeping on the hallway floors on every level of the hotel. Fights would break out over access to the hotel bathrooms and to the elevators, and everything that makes for a great hotel experience would become disrupted and chaotic. The body acts in a similar way where excess glucose is concerned. Once our liver and our muscles are saturated with glycogen, this is the equivalent of filling all of the rooms in the hotel. Carbohydrate calories that are consumed in excess of this storage capacity either have to be metabolized to meet the body's energy needs in real time, or the excess glucose begins to get stored as fat in different areas of the body. And like the oversold hotel, when this situation occurs in the body, we begin to see weight gain and other physiologic markers increase outside the boundaries of good health. Insulin resistance develops. Blood pressure often increases. Liver enzymes such as ALT and AST often become elevated as the liver becomes congested with fat. And over time, our ability to maintain normal blood glucose levels becomes impaired and compromised. When this happens, the body has a difficult time keeping blood sugar in the normal healthy range. And if this progresses long enough, both blood glucose and A1C will begin to rise. And if this state persists over time, a tipping point may ultimately be reached. As blood glucose levels rise and remain elevated long enough, the symptoms of type 2 diabetes develop, such as increased urination, loss of body water, increased thirst, fatigue, and weakness. Consequently, in full-blown type 2 diabetes, glucose is often typically running well above that of a non-diabetic. And because blood glucose is persistently high in type 2 diabetes, a higher percentage of red blood cells are in contact with higher amounts of blood glucose, raising A1C to levels outside the norm. So first and foremost, understanding that type 2 diabetes is to a great extent an overstorage disorder is really important, because by acknowledging how type 2 diabetes develops and how it progresses, you can take steps not only to lower your blood glucose and your A1C, but possibly to even reverse type 2 diabetes as well. In the oversold hotel scenario, once management realizes how bad things have gotten and stop letting people into the hotel, the guests gradually begin to leave and the crowd thins out. Consequently, the environment begins to feel a whole lot better to everyone who's still there. The hotel gets its vibrancy and its charm back, and everyone at the hotel relaxes and breathes easier. Likewise, the more intentional you become with your diet and your nutrition and limiting the amount of excess simple sugars and processed carbohydrates you consume, just like the guests who gradually begin leaving the hotel, freeing up rooms and normalizing the hotel functions, your body will begin letting go of excess stored sugar calories, again leaving room in the liver and in the muscles to store normal amounts of glycogen in the way that they were designed to function. Over time, as your blood glucose levels trend more consistently in the normal range, and specifically if you can keep your blood glucose levels normal over the course of a 3-month period prior to testing, your A1C should come down as well, because you're limiting the amount of excess glucose being permitted to enter the bloodstream. Remember, A1C is not the disease. It's simply a reflection of how consistently your red blood cells encounter excess blood sugar or not. I'm going to talk more and more about eating intentionally in these videos, because the food environment in which most of us now live make it very, very difficult to eat in a manner that truly nourishes the body. We're surrounded by so much junk and processed manufactured food 24/7 and at every turn that if you're not consistently eating in a manner that's very intentional, by default, you'll you'll find that it's very easy to eat things that don't support your goal of reducing your A1C and avoiding or reversing type 2 diabetes. And remember, if it comes in a box or wrapped in cellophane, or it has to pass through a factory or a manufacturing plant before it can end up on your plate, it's probably best left on the grocery store shelves. I hope this video has been helpful to you. My goal is to help you live the healthiest life possible. And in doing so, just like a well-functioning 5-star hotel, your body will begin to reflect the positive changes that you've made in your lifestyle. Here's to your health. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.